All right, I want to shift gears because we're talking about the United States and coalition forces launching strikes in Afghanistan. This, of course, the day after the Taliban captured a major city there. They freed hundreds of prisoners, caught the government flat-footed. At the meantime, a new congressional report released today shows that the United States has failed to stop Americans from joining ISIS. And then there's President Obama. He was at the UN summit struggling really to point out achievements with regard to fighting ISIS. Take a listen.
I have repeatedly said that our approach will take time. This is not an easy task. It is not going to be enough to defeat ISIL in the battlefield. We have to prevent it from radicalizing, recruiting, and inspiring others to violence in the first place. And this means defeating their ideology.
The president is preaching the same tune, but when is he going to do something about it? And will it be anything different? Liz Peek and Christian Whiton is back. They're back with me. Liz, you write about this topic a lot. This congressional report, this task force report that more or less said, hey, we have been unable to stop the luring of Americans and other Westerners to ISIS. What is that all about?
Well, we don't have an effective mechanism for getting out the other side of the story. We are losing the public relations battle. There's no question about it. I've also written about Voice of America.
Public relations battle against the bloodthirsty people that set people on fire. They throw homosexuals from buildings. They rape women. They kill Christians. How could they beat us in the PR realm?
One volume. They're out there with something like 60,000 messages a day. We probably, I don't know, maybe 30 or something like that. But this is something we're not doing well. And it isn't just the Obama administration. The organization that presumably puts out our nation's voice, the Voice of America, and its related entities, is just so mismanaged. It's been a disaster for years. It's one of these many things that had been badly handled by the government, and no one has really stepped in to fix it.
Christian, I think the key word there is badly managed and half-hearted. It doesn't feel like anything associated with Middle East policy has had any real strong direction, in part because it feels like the White House is indifferent to it all.
Right. Well, Liz is absolutely right that VOA and also the other instrumentalities, Radio Free Europe and others, are just completely lost at sea. They have no clear mission, and we need to get rid of them and replace them with things that actually have a voice in the debate within radical Islam. Sending American diplomats speaking in English, talking about how ISIS is bad is not going to really influence that debate. But before you start talking about any of those tactics, you need an administration that can address the ideology. It's great the president says he wants to, although, frankly, you can't wage ideological warfare against tanks. Once battle has started, we just need to win the battle. But you're never going to win the ideological fight if you can't even name the ideology of our adversary. Just calling it violent extremism is nonsense. If you can't utter the words radical Islam or Islamism or political Islam, if you can't get at the brunt of the problem, you're never going to address it.
And by the way, we aren't winning the battles. I mean, this is a region where really might makes right, and people are very impressed by power and the show of force. It's very hard to sort of isolate any places where we're doing well right now.
We hear the same thing every time, Liz, that they were caught off guard.
Thank you.
The Taliban government was caught off guard.
I agree.
I mean, not the Taliban, the Afghan government caught off guard.
And this is, by the way, this is a city that has been apparently surrounded by Taliban forces attacking it for months now. One of many places in Afghanistan. Our forces
Let's leave it there, guys.
Not allowed to participate.